All right, so Chelsea winning by 2-1. Jose Mourinho losing again to Frank Lampard. That's about what the umpteenth time he's lost to Frank Lampard there. But yeah, Chelsea winning and recovering brilliantly after that loss to Man United last week, Monday. Guys, that was a good one. It was a good win for Chelsea fans. If you thought that the United win would rattle them, I thought they responded very well against Spurs.
Which they always seem to do. I think every time, even Jose Mourinho mentioned it, he said every time Chelsea lose a game, they respond in a certain way. And that was when he said that he knew the way Chelsea were going to line up, and they asked him whether he had a mole inside the Chelsea dressing room. And he said, no, it's logic. Every time Chelsea lose, we've watched their pattern. They did it against Lille. They lost heading into that game. They changed the formation, and they've done it a few times this season. And Frank Lampard this is the only thing I really like about Frank Lampard. I think that he's a manager who is very, very flexible indeed. Okay. And he uses a lot of common sense mostly. Heading into this match, everybody saw the performance of Olivier Giroud and knew that he deserved better. He deserved to start. You know, you remember on Friday, Christopher Nimble and I had a massive argument about whether Lampard would actually listen and go and start Olivier Giroud. He did. And he started Olivier Giroud, and he was paid back in double fold. He started a player like Marcos Alonso. He paid off. He started a player like Mason Mount. He paid off. He was one of the best players on the pitch as far as Chelsea was concerned. So I think that Lampard is learning. The problem with Lampard and the inconsistency is the fact that sometimes he tries to overdo things. But when he keeps it simple and goes with the common sense approach, he always gets the result. Because this particular match against Tottenham Hotspur, just like he was in the first leg and in the game against Arsenal, you could actually tell that Chelsea won the game because of the tactical aptitude of Frank Lampard and his technical team. You can tell that they won the game as a result of the changes they've made, whether to the starting 11 against Spurs in both matches, or whether it's some half-time substitution like he did against Arsenal when he brought in Jorginho. So you can tell that Frank Lampard actually understands the game. He can read the opponent. He just doesn't have the consistency to keep to and stick to a winning formula. I think one of the things he needs to really sort out is discovering what works best for every team. Because somehow he seems to know what works best against Arsenal, what works best against Spurs, but he doesn't know what works best against Bournemouth. He doesn't know what works best against Southampton. He doesn't know what works best against West Ham United. So he has to figure out how to beat all of those other teams.
Isn't it probably the fear of not having an identity? You know, for example, one of the things we accused Unai Emery of not doing at Arsenal was instilling a philosophy and adapting game to game. Some people will think that, let me have a way of playing, so when you watch my team, this is my team.
When you watch Lampard, the way of playing is the same. I think the problem is the personnel.
The
personnel choice, yes. Because in all of the matches Chelsea have played this season, it's been the same. High press, counter press. It's very identifiable. They have an identifiable style. It's just the personnel issue for me.
I think that Fred mentioned something about Lampard using common sense. I think it's 50-50. I think honestly, I think
are you saying he doesn't use?
Frankly speaking, for him to take as long as February to give Olivier Giroud a chance is why I'm saying it's 50-50. Because look, you don't need to be told. At the beginning of the season, if you gave me Tammy Abraham, Giroud, and Batshuayi, of course I'm taking Giroud all day. He's a World Cup winner. He's experienced. The style of football Lampard wants to play, I feel Giroud fits in perfectly to that style. Giroud's link-up play.
Really good with his feet.
One of the best strikers when it comes to link-up play. He can bring in the rest of the attacking players and cause his attacking players or his attacking teammates
have a look at
to score more goals.
The year Montpellier won the league in France. Giroud did double in goals and assists.
No, so you don't even need him to be banging in the goals. When Giroud is there, look at his partnership with Hazard. When Giroud is there, he allows everybody around him to do well,
to flourish,
and he's also doing well. Look at his partnership with Griezmann with France. So I think for Lampard, friends mentioned, it's a consistency. He needs to find a team, not just the philosophy, because we can see the imprint on the team. He needs to find 11 players or about 13 or 14 constant players who work for him and then stick with them. Because as it stands, it's chopping and changing. Today, look at the central defensive partnership. It's changed over and
He's
over and
done
over
all
again
kinds of
throughout this whole
mixes.
season. And frankly speaking, these guys are beginning to look very tired. Rudiger and Christensen.
Yeah.
Their partnership is beginning to look a bit some way. But let me just quickly touch on Tottenham Hotspur. And honestly speaking, I think Jose Mourinho, he said it a couple of days ago, for him to make top 4 with this in this current situation will be a big achievement for him. Look, he said it after the game, and a lot of commentary going around this. Mourinho is always complaining, he's always complaining. Look, you can never in a lifetime underestimate the importance of a number 9 in your team.
Of course.
If he's going to finish basically the whole second half of the season without a recognized number 9, and for people to expect him to make the top 4, that's a very tough ask. You look at Bergwijn's performance, and I don't blame him. When you're asked to play the number 9 role, it's such a specialized role. It involves instinct and all these things. And if you don't have it, you just don't have it. And he looked lost on the pitch. They looked very miserable on the pitch. All the people who were asked to play the number 9 role, at a point, Lucas Moura had to come and fill in. It looks all over the place. And for Mourinho, I feel it will take time. Maybe 3-4 games for him to find somebody who can at least be close to that number 9. I feel if anybody can do it, it's Dele Alli. But Dele Alli's head doesn't look in the game at the moment. His reaction when he was taken off was it was nonsense for me. Honestly, you've had a poor game, you are taken off. You have no right to get angry and be throwing things around. Who are you? There ain't nobody compared to Jose Mourinho. He is the one who has actually brought you up to consideration, into the consideration of the England national team when he came in. Your form under Mourinho has shot up since he came. So if anything, you owe him respect. You should actually apologize for having such a poor game.
True.
Come off and start working hard again to regain your position.
Well,
I was
Jose
happy.
said he was only upset with himself.
Yeah, but
Because
He
of
was
his
being
poor
sarcastic.
performance.
You know he was being sarcastic.
Just a quick point on what Daniel said earlier about Olivier Giroud and how players flourish around him. You look at yesterday's game. How many times did you see Ross Barkley and Mason Mount getting behind him
he's
to get
a
shots in?
fantastic number 9 to
You know,
play
so
off.
that link-up play and the ability to let other
I
players
feel
get
that
in
Chelsea
behind
probably
him
would have
really-
had a few more points had he played in the first half of the season. They would have won a lot more.